What is Winters up to? Wow.
Welcome to Shell Shock, ringing in your ears like the bells that L rock. It doesn't matter how your cell locks are. If you find solace in the coldest cell block, it's fucking Shell Shock. So anyway, this level is pretty again because we're back in Winter's Tower, which was, if you remember correctly, the prettiest level. So this level is also very pretty. And you should buy the TMNT soundtrack on iTunes or Amazon or whatever the fuck. Preferably iTunes because Amazon is terrible. The TMNT soundtrack contains a really great remix of Black Betty, which I think I brought up previously. It also includes 2 original songs. One of them is Shell Shock, which is my favorite TMNT song. And the other one is Aw Dip by Cobra Starship, which is also really good, but not nearly as memorable as Shell Shock. Shell Shock has an incredibly catchy beat, and it fits well with the Turtles in a lot of ways. Aw Dip, it sounds sort of like a theme song to an anime, or a Saturday morning cartoon, and it's good in its own way, but it feels like it doesn't have a lot to do with the Turtles. Black Betty doesn't have a lot to do with the Turtles either, obviously, but that was used specifically for an action scene where the tone and pacing of the song matched really well with what was happening on screen. Aw Dip doesn't really feel like it belongs anywhere in TMNT. It's just a good song on its own, like something I would listen to independently. It's also a pretty easy song to find because even though there is a worse version of Shell Shock in the Michael Bay movies, which is a completely different song with the same name, you know, you look up Aw Dip, and the song by Cobra Starship is the only thing that comes up, because nobody else would ever name a song Aw Dip. Anyway, we should talk about how this film, the film this game is based on, is just called TMNT. Now, a lot of people used TMNT as an abbreviation for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles before and after this film. So naming the film TMNT was a pretty ballsy choice because it's like you're saying, yeah, this is TMNT. This is what that is. And you know, I'm fine with that. If this was the only piece of Turtles media, I'd be 100% okay with that. Are there other amazing pieces of Turtle media? Yes, obviously. The 2003 cartoon series is easily the best adaptation of the comics. Easily the most faithful adaptation of the original comics. The 2012 Nickelodeon series, also really good, if a bit transparent. Turtles Forever, the movie that closed off the 4Kids TMNT series, that was incredible, and it actually made every Turtles series canon in a way that can't be retconned. Which is really fucking impressive, and I got a good laugh out of that. But yeah, Turtles Forever makes every single piece of Turtles media canon. And just like the 2003 series by 4Kids, it was very well received, and it deserved to be. I kind of wish the 2007 film that this game was based on was as well received, but, you know, whatever. Man, I love Turtles Forever. 4Kids was like, hey, we're gonna lose the license soon, but we own this license right now. This is our license. Let's go out with the biggest fucking bang. Let's leave a mark on Turtles that nobody can ever erase. And they already did that by making the best adaptation of the comics. So, they already did that, but they decided to take it a step further. I swear there used to be platforming in this game at one point. I swear this game had platforming in it. I feel like I may have hallucinated the platforming because I certainly there hasn't been any platforming in this level yet, right? I mean, we jumped up here, we had a fight in the lobby, and then we jumped up here and we're having another fight. So, I mean, I could have sworn this game was at least half 3D platformer, but I'm starting to think maybe I was deluded. There's more? More just came out of the elevator? How many more are there? Oh my god. So I skipped to the best part of the level for my own sanity. This is some of the best platforming in the game, and it's certainly the most challenging platforming in the game. The platforming mechanics, if we're being honest, were a little underexplored until just now, but this area does a great job of exploring it with a bunch of vanishing platforms, a time limit, and it makes great use of the variable jump height, and even has a use for Donnie's staff, which you probably forgot had a platforming function. And I don't blame you, you know, who would remember that Donnie's staff had a unique platforming mechanic, but the game remembered, and for some reason it just waited until right now to bring it back. But anyway, yeah, the platforms vanish as we jump on them. There's a lot of unique platforming assets that make use of all the different mechanics. It's a good room. It's actually one of the few rooms where the platforming feels hard, like you're being challenged by it. And again, the satisfaction is more important than the challenge as far as the 3D platforming in this game, but it's still nice when you can have both, and this room does both. I would say this room would kill a run of this level, since you know the game obviously wants you to speedrun it, but as you saw from the fight sections, nobody wants to do that, because the fight sections are so fucking boring. And you don't want to do that because you don't want to restart the level because the fight sections are the worst thing ever. Anyway, like I said, every mechanic of the platforming is explored in this room. It's great. I love it. I'm trying not to say anything bad about this room because there's nothing bad to say about this room except that maybe you forgot Donnie's staff ability was a thing, so you wouldn't know to use it. That happened to me at least twice. One of those times being right here, but I edited it out. I edited it out. But anyway, yeah, very little bad to say about this room. It combines everything I loved about the platforming, including the 2D perspective. So, you know, I don't want to spend this reprieve from the terrible combat complaining about the combat. Because this is good, and it should be applauded. You know, this is great game design. Okay, we're out. I can start bitching again. The name of this level pisses me the fuck off because they actually neglect to explain what Winter's secret is, which is the single most important twist in the film, is Winter's motivation and his secret. But they neglect to explain it at all. And I don't know how you fuck that up. Frankly, I don't understand, because there's a cutscene where they interrogate Winters in this level, but when they interrogate him, he doesn't explain his motivation, and it's so weird. Thankfully, I can't show you that scene, because it's like a 1:30-second long clip straight from the movie. Now, normally I wouldn't be saying that. Normally I'd be like, "Aw, fuck, man, that sucks. You're not going to get to see a whole cutscene." But in this case, I'm like, "Aw, sweet. You don't get to see this cutscene." Which I don't think I've ever wanted for anything else. Even the terrible cutscenes in The Force Unleashed 2, I wanted you to watch those, because that game won a fucking award for writing, which is laughable, which is why I just laughed right now. And it was important for you to see the cutscenes in The Force Unleashed 2 because the writing was so shitty. You know, you needed to see what people thought deserved a writing award. And it wasn't The Force Unleashed 2. The Force Unleashed 2 was ambitious, sure, but it fucked everything up. And it's not like I wasn't into Force Unleashed 2's narrative. I was into it. I tried to get other people into it while I was Let's Playing it, because I wanted them to genuinely enjoy the narrative, even if I thought it was moronic, because they were trying. Now granted, it doesn't matter how hard the writers are trying when it turns out like that, but still, if people could enjoy it, I wanted them to enjoy it. If I were to play the game today, I would probably approach it very differently. I would still discuss the game mechanics, but a lot more of the commentary would also be focused on how fucked up the narrative is, and how little sense it makes in context with the first game. Still think the game's gameplay is solid, it just feels really unfinished. Just like me, I feel unfinished. I feel like half of my soul was not done. Oh boy! It's the elevator fight scene time! Oh baby. We're ready for this. It's time for the longest fight scene in the fucking game. Are you ready? I'm so ready for this shit. I brought like a book to read while this is going on. I got the Incredibles novelization, actually, right here. Excuse me. You might think that's a little weird to have a novelization of a children's movie. And that always did seem weird to me, but they actually understood a lot about what Brad Bird was going for when you read the book, and it's impressive if only for that alone. But yeah, a lot of the scenes come across very well in the book, and it's not as good a book as it is a movie because the voice acting and music really sells a lot of the scenes in the movie. But as far as putting the scenes in your imagination goes, it does a great job. You know, it's the second best thing to Brad Bird's actual directing. And that was my review of The Incredibles novelization. Now here we have the novelization of Metal Gear Solid, the original Metal Gear Solid video game, which I would not recommend, because if you recall, in the Metal Gear Solid universe, there was actually a book written about Snake called In the Darkness of Shadow Moses, and the novelization is not that book. So I have to give it a 0 out of 10 on principle. I'm very sorry. I'm sure the author tried very hard to make the book good. I read it a long time ago. I don't remember anything about it, but I'm sure they tried. They just failed on principle. And that was my satirical joke review of the Metal Gear Solid novelization. Shit, what other books have we got here? Actually, now I wonder if there's a TMNT novelization. Give me a sec here. Yes, there is a novelization of the 2007 TMNT movie. I can confirm that does exist. And part of me wants to read it out of curiosity, but the other part is like, no, don't. For the same price of that book, which retells an excellent movie you already love, you could buy a new experience, a new video game, a new film, something. I mean, yes, it's $3.99, but do you know how many things on my Steam wishlist are $3.99 and under? A lot of things. You know what's on my wish list right now is for this combat section, and that would be great right about now, but it keeps going, and why even bother having this really sweet elevator with this really cool scenery if it doesn't do anything, if you don't do anything with it? This is just the same kind of fight the rest of the game has. You know, it doesn't even need to be something amazing. The core mechanics don't need to change, but usually when there's an elevator fight in a beat-em-up, it changes something. Like, it gives you less room, it changes the terrain, you can throw people off the elevator, something, you know? And it's true, there are plenty of elevator scenes that aren't creative in beat-em-ups I like. Alright, there are plenty of beat-em-ups with elevator scenes that I like, and the elevator scenes are shitty and not creative. But those beat-em-ups also have combat that's good, and game design for the combat that's good, as opposed to this, which is just the same fucking thing over and over, and it hurts. And, you know, there are even beat-em-ups where you can do the same fucking thing over and over, and it will still be good. You know what they're called? They're called Muso games, and the reason they're good is because there's such a huge variety in playable characters, and the movesets are incredibly complex and varied, and it's fun to explore the movesets of all the characters. And it's satisfying because you beat up so many dudes at once. There's so many ways to make good beat-em-ups, it's incredible. Why didn't you choose any of them, TMNT? You chose none. You chose none of them. When there was a choice to make an engaging beat-em-up, make an engaging beat-em-up system, they just gave you a list of choices, and you said, "Nah, I'm good. I don't wanna." You were like, "Nah, I'm okay with my mediocrity. This is good. I'm comfortable here. Don't take me out of my comfort zone."
Aguila will crush you like a gnat.
As if.
Prepare to die.
How original. One heavy turtle coming right up!
Do not even try to follow me, turtle. This is just beginning. Believe me, you will hurt.
I think I can help you. Bow power is pure power. I believe you owe it to yourself to practice more.
You are not fast enough.
You ready, big guy?
even try to follow me, turtle!
I think I can help you.
Neither human nor animal. Beg for mercy! I, General Mono, puny mortals.
We're not really puny. Technically, we're pretty big for our species.
I crush you!
Need my size? Incredible! All right!
Mono hurt you!
You know, 2 shells are better than 1. One heavy turtle coming right up! All right! You know, 2 shells are better than 1.
Turtle finished. Mono hurt you.
You ready, big guy? All right!
I break you in half. I wonder how long no one defeats Aguilar.
Now you will feel the wrath of Serpiente.
Sir Plenty? Who's he?
Mikey, that joke doesn't even fucking work. Those don't even sound a little similar. Those don't even sound a little similar, Mikey. Fuck you.
You may cower before me. Turtles taste so good. You must learn when to quit. Hell won't.
Dude, tag me in! Ah!
Need my size?
Dude, tag me in! Say, was that the pound commando or the flame dragon?
Dream of defeating me.
I think I can help you. I believe you owe it to yourself to practice more often.
You know, 2 shells are better than 1. You ready, big guy?
I'm here for you. Good move! Splinter would approve.
No.